Welcome to the Pitcher Nail Down. I'm Jason Gilbo at JGilbo11. With me is Russell Clay at Russell J. Clay. Taking a look at the Saturday night pitching action. And we got some decent arms up top, but it's only up top because there's not much down below.
The pitching action, the paction. The paction is on today, folks. There is not much. I don't even have a good analogy or anything for this one. This is vile.
It's bad.
It's disrespectful to DFS.
Yeah. It is. It's disrespectful. Jumping right into it, you got Tigers and Orioles. A big over-under of 9.5. Baltimore minus 128 favorites. Anibal Sanchez, Mike Wright. Obviously, the over-under of 9.5 is not thrilling for either of these arms. And either of these offenses, I'm really looking to stack both sides, mainly on that Tiger side.
Folks, we're looking at getting a soundboard here, and this would just be, don't touch this game.
Yeah, I mean, we're glossing over this one. This one's not good.
I mean, obviously, you're looking at that Baltimore stack for the offensive side, but for this, yeah. Sorry, Mike Wright. Love you, but
yeah,
not tonight, man.
No, definitely not. Reds Phillies here. We'll jump into a better pitcher. Aaron Nola is in a great spot against the Reds. Home matchup here against a Reds team that don't rank very high. They rank 25th in WOBA against righties. Nice 22.6% strikeout. And Nola, I mean, by far my favorite arm on the slate here. The only thing that you're just kind of hoping for is if that weather holds off. Otherwise, I mean, you're kind of getting risky with a lot of these arms, but there is some weather in the area, so make sure to stay on tabs with that one.
Yeah, I mean, if weather hits this one, Nola's really the only cash game arm you're really looking at tomorrow. And again, if you're managing your bankroll and not just throwing it out there like I do sometimes, you might want to just hang with tournaments tomorrow or tonight because it just doesn't necessarily add up. Now, but if Nola does play, I think he's an interesting guy to sort of look at here.
Yeah, I mean, or maybe you just take the day off and you go outside and enjoy the weather. Enjoy Saturday, a Saturday.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Stay indoors and watch your pitchers crumble.
Or if you don't play DFS, you just like watch YouTube videos and like just stay inside and check your email over and over again like I do. Anyway, enough of my social life. Tim Edelman, are we looking at him at all, or is that sort of a fade as well?
It's a fade for me. I think it's a tough time getting the win. I think this Phillies offense is better than advertised at this point, and Edelman just doesn't really cut it. I think Nola, his impressive strikeout rate of 27.8 this season is really where I'm looking.
Yeah. I mean, the last time Edelman was on the slate, he was only 4,900 on DraftKings, so I think he was kind of intriguing then, but I mean, they boosted him up quite a bit now. So it doesn't really – he's not a pure punt play anymore. He's almost in that 7K range. So
yeah, I mean, he's pitched well in those two starts, which is reasonable why they bumped him up, but I'm not it's not too appealing for me tonight.
Right.
This next game here, you got the Brewers and the Marlins Nationals. And Tanner Roark on the hill. Make sure if you're looking ahead of time, Strasburg might be in that player pool, but it is Tanner Roark who's pitching the night slate. Roark, an intriguing arm. Obviously, this Miami team's been hitting pretty well. Roark is definitely just a GPP play. I'm not expecting any big K upside like we saw from him a start or two ago, whatever that was. Overall, I don't think really either of these sides are appealing.
Yeah. This is another one. I mean, obviously, if Strasburg's out there, you're looking at a potential cash arm, but it's Roark. So I don't like messing with this Miami Marlins lineup right now. I know they have been struggling a little bit, but I think there is some skill in that order. So I'm not really touching them with weak arms right now.
Yeah, Rourke's price tag, 9,900 is just way too high for me. I'd rather just pay it down. I mean, I'd rather roll Nola. I even like Carlos Martinez, who we'll talk about a little later. So overall, I mean, he could be in line for a solid start, but obviously I think definitely just GPP only.
Yeah.
Next one here, Padres and Brewers. We have Willie Peralta taking on the Padres. And at the moment, the Padres do not have a starter. Regardless, we weren't going to play them anyway. So whoever they're throwing in, we're probably looking to stack against. But Peralta, I mean, a cheap arm going up against the Padres team, but not very good. But neither is Peralta. And even in a good spot in a matchup like this, I can't get behind him. And I know 5,500 is intriguing for a pitcher against the Padres, but what are you on to? I think you're probably like,
it's one of those where when there's really nothing else on the slate and he's facing the Padres and he's got a stackable offense behind him, I might do it in one lineup. I might do it. I might do it just to try to get that win, and maybe he gets through 5 innings, and allows 2 or 3 runs. If he gets me 15, I'm probably happy with that on this slate.
Yeah, I mean, certainly I think, you're looking at this. I mean, this Padres lineup, 29th in WOBA. Miller Park is obviously against him. 5,500, he's not going to have to do a whole lot. As you mentioned, the win's probably something that we can kind of bank on here, regardless of who's on the hill for San Diego. And Peralta, a 15-point outing is solid at that price tag, especially with the salary relief he gives you with paying up for whatever top arm you want in SP1.
Right.
So,
not suggested, but maybe if you make 20 lineups, throw him in there as an SP2 on sites that have that. So,
yeah. Next one here, Braves and Royals, over-under of 8.5. KC monster favorites here, -168. Mike Foltynewicz, Dylan G. Dylan G is another dirt cheap guy, 4,600. He's priced like a top outfielder. And he's a guy who's been in the pen and hasn't pitched particularly well in the pen. Usually comes in and allows a run or two and pitches some long relief. But in a spot against the Braves, they rank 30th in WOBA. At that price tag, once again, it's a little bit appealing. I'm just curious on how far he can go.
Yeah, the question is for relievers that are going into sort of starting positions, can they get to that 5 innings? Can they get to that win? Alonzo G's brother, interesting sport of choice for him to choose. I didn't expect this relief pitcher, but at only 4,600, even Alonzo G's. If he's like Alonzo G, though, he's probably just going to stand in the corner and not score fantasy points. So you don't want that out of your pitcher. But okay. But more realistically, I think at that price, and especially on a slate like this where there's just no top options, I think it's pretty reasonable to think about totally punting in tournaments. And sort of going with one of the higher priced guys as your SP1. But you don't want to start him, but if you're totally looking to punt and you really like an expensive stack, I'm not against it.
Yeah, let's remember the core slate, or the Coors game is on this slate. So 8-10 here. We'll jump into it in a few games. Those two arms, so we're obviously going to be looking to stack. And necessarily those bats go off and G or Peralta give you a 15 points. That's huge. You pair that up with an SP1, you're looking at a pretty solid lineup.
Because, he's bad, but so isn't this Braves lineup so far this year. They've been really bad, so we'll see those two collide into a battle of ineptitude.
Yeah, and Kauffman Stadium's backing them, so that's a nice pitcher's park. But next one here, you got Blue Jays and Rangers, Marco Estrada, Colby Lewis. 2 guys have definitely overperformed this season. Once again, you're going to get a very high Vegas total because of these offenses and because of these ballparks. And Marco Estrada is somewhat intriguing for the price tag. I think he has a reasonable upside here, and I don't necessarily mind him. He's been very solid this season, and against this Rangers team that obviously they're at home. It is a little bit different, but overall, not that too intimidating. 15th in WOBA against right-handers this season.
These are actually 2 guys that I'm not totally against in tournaments, just because the offenses are strong, but they have bad games. So, and they have quite a bit lately. So I think that's intriguing from a tournament sense, especially Estrada, who's shown some strong upside so far this year. And I mean, 8,100 on DraftKings. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, definitely. Next one here, you do have the Coors game, Logan Verrey and Eddie Butler over under a 10.5. No, thank you. Looking to stack both these guys or both these teams. Yeah, that's a big one. I mean, that's one of the like warning sirens, like the tornado
Yeah.
sirens coming in because you want no piece of either of these guys.
No, that's tough.
Next one here, another one. I mean, Chase Field 9.5, Jake Peavy, Patrick Corbin, two quality offenses. The way Peavy's pitched, Corbin hasn't looked great. He's going to go up against a Giants team that hit pretty well against left-handed pitching. So it's another stay away game for pitching for me.
We might be coming for Jake Peavy, but that's to be continued. But yeah, I don't think I see myself touching these guys either. I think you can just go for the pure punts instead of these guys.
Yeah, definitely. Next one here, Angels and Mariners. This one provides two above average arms here in Safeco, a nice pitcher's park, over under 7.5. Seattle minus 150 favorites. I like Hisashi Iwakuma here. He's always pitched well against the Angels. He pitches well at home. Not going to completely blow up your team. And I think overall he's another safe cash game guy.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. On this slate, I think he is in play for that. I mean, the Angels' offense hasn't been anything to ride home about so far this year, so I think this is a pretty reasonable matchup.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that price tag on DraftKings, 7,700. I mean, ideally, I pair up him and Nola. I think that's my cash game duo.
Yeah.
In GPPs, obviously, you can drop Iwakuma down to a cheaper guy. But overall, I think Nola Iwakuma is looking to be my cash game duo.
Right, and I'd say if you get 18 to 20 out of him, that's pretty good, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what you're looking for there. And this Angels team, bottom 5 and low, but they have not been great. They don't strike out a ton, but also they have had trouble with Iwakuma in the past. Chacin on the other side with his new team. Does he intrigue you at all?
Not really. I mean, I actually kind of like this Seattle offense. And I don't necessarily trust him. New team. I'm not with the I'm not going to take the box of unknown here instead of going with something I'm a little more confident in.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Next one here, you got another 7.5 total, Dodgers and Cardinals out there in LA. Scott Kazmir, Carlos Martinez. Carlos Martinez is kind of an interesting GPP option tonight, just because you look at this Cardinals offense or Dodgers offense. 24th in WOBA against right-handers, 21.6% strikeout rate. Have a lot of underperforming bats.
Yeah, consistently underperforming. I mean, you look at Puig, Adrian Gonzalez, Utley. It's rough all around right now. So I do like that. He does give one other higher end option to sort of differentiate yourself with Nola. I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, I don't think the way Scott Kazmir has pitched this season makes me necessarily think that a win's out of the question for him. And looking at the game, it's essentially a pick 'em. So in that ballpark, the way he's pitched this year, he's pitched well. I think he's in a decent spot. I think there is some general upside for GPPs. So, and Scott Kazmir on the other side, is he a guy you?
No.
Not take a look at now.
I've seen enough.
It's passive. Yes. Move on. I've seen enough.
I mean, at this point in the year, obviously we're still early on, but there are some trends with guys that maybe just aren't. I just haven't seen enough from him to be confident to start him.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with you. He just hasn't been that great. And this Cardinals offense is a top 5 offense to really kind of look at. So, yeah, I can't necessarily see using Kazmir when Iwakuma's right in that price tag. So that's going to wrap things up here at the Pitcher Nail Down. Be sure to check out DailyFantasyCafe.com for all our great tools and content.